Oh, duh. As I blind bronze, I forgot to hit the screen. The show avatar. Oh, whoopsies.
I don't know.
Hello, learned by my site. And yeah, I also decided to push it back to 11 because I hope this would be a better time for people to join. If not, let me know and try to figure out when to do these streams. And yeah, so lately I noticed a lot of people have been talking about WandaVision on their videos and how they expect this leading to the next phase of the MCU. And to be honest, I haven't really watched it because I haven't really watched anything in the MCU since Ragnarok because I kind of lost interest in the whole comic book movie franchise or shows. What's kind of sad is like most people in the 90s, I grew up reading comics. And the two I read myself were the main Spider Man, Batman, and on occasion, Girl. And sorry. And I was actually intrigued to see how these would be created on the big screen or on other cases on television screen for shows. And there were sure something I missed, but I feel like the one thing that if we were talking about MCU or DCU is how they decide to show the heroes. Because a lot of times they forget that these characters have dual personalities. And you have the vigilante, but you also have the person behind the mask. And a lot of times they expect the actors to treat both as one character, when that's not the case. And I feel like the biggest letdown for this is when you consider Daredevil. Because you have Daredevil himself, who is judge, jury, and sometimes executioner, but he's not supposed to be. And then you also have Matt Murdock, who is supposed to be a blind lawyer. And I say that mockingly because a lot of times when it comes to pick the actor for his role, they go with a person who has perfect vision. And yet you're expected to play the blind character. Like, how up is that? And recently, a lot of fans want Charlie Cox, who played Daredevil and Matt Murdock for the Netflix series, to come back and play the role because he is an advocate and got an award for the National Federation for Blind in 2015. And yes, I mean sarcastic when I said that. I'm not lying, he got an award, but the thing is though is that the foundation did that award to those that are helping to break down stereotypes and make life easier for those out of blind living community. And that is what I'm mocking, is that what he did had nothing to do with the community. He wore a mock version of nightshades. And what nightshades are glasses that you wear that blocked out all light. And a lot of programs use it to help train either those that have children or family members that are blind, or in some cases, programs we use them to help people that are slowly losing their vision to see what it'll be like when they go completely blind to help bridge the gap. So he had these glasses made. Didn't know what the actual technology was. Didn't know the science behind it. That made it appear as though. Well, no wait. Sorry, I lose my notes. So these glasses were made that he looked like his redder eyes, tuttered and everything. But at the same time, they made it so that he knew how it was to be blind. Hey, Danny. And I mean, that's a cool idea. And I'm pretty sure a lot of children growing up that were mocked, teased, harassed, bullied because your eyes are weird would highly appreciate those glasses. But what happened was is that he wore them for the first two screenings or recordings of Daredevil, and then after that stopped using them because it was too much inconvenience. He did side died on off the set. And I mean, I get that you have the vision, you don't want to be in that situation where you have to put others. But I mean, come on. The least he could have done was manufacture these glasses for children. But nope. I'm just use these and it's immediate, so I'm just throw away and oh look, I got an award for improv acting. And I know what it's like now. It's like, what the hell? And I was like fly ass my sawdust because it's not right. And the sad thing is that apparently doing research is that 1 in 4 people is supposed to have disability here in front of and behind the camera. So if you have 4 people behind the camera and 4 people in front of the camera, 2 out of 8 people are supposed to have disability. And it seems like that's true if you have any other disability. If you're hard of hearing, if you have a physical limitation, if you're in a wheelchair, then yes, they will go and they'll find after disability or those who have a family member and they know what it's like to play the role. But when it comes to our community, it's always a person that has provision, not someone with astigmatism, night blindness, person that wears glasses. It's always someone has provision. And I feel like this is a mockery. And it's kind of sad as you would expect by now with all the advances in technology that we would be past this, but we're not. And what's really sad is that in 2016, a film was created called do you want something? Look at my notes. Me for You, I think that's a film. Where it was the character was a quadriplegic. Paraplegic, I think. Oh wait, sorry. I totally forgot the word.
Paraplegic.
No, quad.
Paraplegic?
No, quad.
Oh.
Quadriplegic. Sorry, Lauren's trying to help. It's like, no, I know what I'm saying. Which means that I guess it means that you're like paralyzed in more than one part of your body. But it was played by a person who had nothing wrong with them. And the sad thing is that the film apparently supported the idea that if you're disabled, you shouldn't live. Because the character had assisted suicide. And that's just sad. But at the same time, it's like 2015 was not that long ago. And yet, we're still struggling to find advantages or assistance for those in the disabled community. And on one hand, I know it's the fact that people just don't want us to be on the same level as those that are perfectly normal. Or, as Lucia mentioned this morning during his stream, that it's just mediocre and people just don't care. They just want your money for the film or for the show, and they don't care who they're insulting or if they have the character right or not. Oh, I thought my rant lasts a lot longer than 12 minutes. Oh. Oh, man. What are you showing me, babe?
I don't want to interject with, but yeah, that's a hard word to say.
So, I have learned, like, usually she's in the bathroom, but I thought it'd be interesting to have her comment on this because we both have a disability of low vision, and I thought it'd be interesting to get her point of view on it as well as mine.
No, well, I didn't want to overshadow your stream. I did it last time, and I was like, well, Hyper Bunny, I haven't had coffee yet.
Well, that's good time for you to chat then, since you don't have coffee.
But I had to look up the definition for quadriplegic. And apparently, according to Google...
Yeah, she like flashing me this bright ass white screen. She's like, I'm like, no way.
It qualifies an illness or an injury and resulting to the partial or a total loss of use of all their limbs and torso.
Right, so a person that, instead of like most cases, people are paralyzed from the waist down, it's almost from the neck down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I thought, but like, I wasn't totally 100% sure. And I didn't want to guess on disability I didn't know anything about.
Yeah, and then insult somebody by accident.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
What was the question?
What's your take on Daredevil?
I don't know. I mean, when we look further, I mean, they kind of repeat the same incident when they made the film.
Oh, are you talking about the crap that was
With Ben Affleck?
Yes.
And again, they casted somebody that had no visual impairment at all.
Right. I mean, I get that. I get with Daredevil because it's a character that's fighting, moving from rooftop to rooftops. You need a person that can see where they're going so they don't injure yourself.
Yeah, because the part where Daredevil comes on that side of it.
And that's what I was getting at. People are being lazy and only casting one person for two roles. Where it's like, and that's the thing, is that if Charlie Cox comes to the MCU, he's not going to start off playing Daredevil, he's going to start off playing Matt Murdock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's his rude role for him to being in Spider-Man 3.
Right. And that's my point. It's the fact that he's playing a blind character, but he's not blind. Where in Supernatural, before we went off the air, they had a hunter who was chasing down a banshee had gone deaf, and it was a fourth generation deaf person that was playing the role.
Wow.
But yet, here we are with MCU, and it's still a person that doesn't have disability playing it. Trying to be disabled.
Yeah. And like I said, well, actually, in The Good Doctor, they had somebody that was hard of hearing and deaf, and they had a person signing.
Right.
Actually, in my opinion, the more show I watch, the more I feel like that's the most represented.
Right.
Because they either have the character have them signing or reading lips.
And the only reason I knew about this is that I was watching Watch Mojo, and he brought up that her and the actor who plays Sam had made a joke. And some people definitely were mad because they thought it was like him making fun of it, because instead of saying thank you is when you put your hand to your mouth and you pull away.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying F you. was when apparently you take the F letter and you put your mouth pulled away.
Oh.
And it wasn't the case, it's that they were joking around. It was a joke between the two of them. But sadly, they had to post and then like media like when they were doing like release panels about it to explain it, make sure that no one was offended.
Oh, that wasn't an inside joke and it wasn't anything.
That wasn't insulting to them themselves, yeah. But like I said, I was doing research and yeah, it made me really sad but also really pissed at the same time. And the thing is though is that they're making it seem like if you're blind or low vision, you can't be an actor, but that's not the case. I've been an actress. I acted while in college, and all you really need is someone to guide you on and off the stage. And I think it really pissed me off was seeing that in the interview with Charlie Cox is that he stopped wearing the glasses because it was inconvenient to be guided off the set to a seat to take glasses off. And that's what pissed me off. It's like, oh, that must be really nice that you decide, oh, I can just take this off and back to normalcy. But yet, how do you think it feels for us when we have to go up to a stranger and say, can you help us find the restroom because we can't see the signs and you not know how embarrassing it is when you go into the wrong bathroom or the wrong changing room?
And plus, their first instinct isn't that you can't see it and you can't identify it, it's that there's an intellectual delay. You just don't know how to read.
Exactly. And we don't get to the opportunity or the decision say, oh, that's an inconvenience. I just get rid of my disability and be normal. I think that's what really pissed me off. And to see the fact that the Foundation for the Blind gave him an award for this method acting. I mean, I would have dated him if he had done it for like the whole season one, then decided to not wear glasses anymore. But it wasn't even that, it was only 2 episodes.
It was too hard.
And I mean, he's a good actor. I'm not doing that. I mean, it just pissed me off that he gets to play a blind character, and that's what's making me mad. Because sadly, I've seen this in LARP too. But I've seen a good and a bad version of this. So when I was LARPing with 17 on, a guy came up to me, and I didn't know he's playing a stereotype time because I haven't run into him yet. He was playing a character kind of like Toph from Avatar. He was blind, and Guy out of the earth was being his eyes. And when he found out that I was playing, that I was totally blind, he came up to me and asked me, should he stop playing the character? Because he thought how he's playing it was insulting me, that it was a mockery. Because a lot of times when they're doing mods or they need someone to whiff him, he did picture on me. And he didn't think that was fair. And I told him, I have nothing against you. Because you're being respectful, it's the staff that are being assholes. And for my point is that he felt real uncomfortable when he stopped playing the character. But then the staff created a NPC, a non-playable character, that was blind. And they did not care about how insulting it was how he played it. Because sadly, it's like, alright, you have a person here that's actually blind compared to a person that's pretending, playing out stereotypes. Which one's more believable? And a lot of times, you need the fake one that people think being realistic. But like I mentioned, when it comes to theater, it's all you really need is someone to help you. Like I said in college, I did the forums for a winter show, and the director is pretty smart because I had to be on stage 4 times, and every time I was on the stage, I had someone lead me on and off. But it wasn't something awkward that was fourth wall. It was something that connected to the play. So no one could really tell that I couldn't see or that someone was guiding me. It made sense. But the thing is, though, is that with television shows, is that it's in front of camera. So they could have the person on set and record it. So I don't see how it's any more difficult than doing theater. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Laura?
I had a totally different concept to talk about,
Okay.
but it might enrage you.
Well, give me your 2 cents on this first, then you can say your comment.
Blink, blink.
What do you think? Do you think because of the fact you're in the camera, do you think it's easier to stage a person that has visual disabilities than them actually physically trying to set themselves on the stage?
Well, that tied into what I was going to comment on. I had to look up what the show was called to make sure I was accurate.
Okay.
So, not to say that what you're saying is valid about Daredevil, but Amazon took a different approach to show the blind community.
Oh, I think I know what you're referring to. But
Yeah, the series is called Seer, and it's an adaptation of the book True Sight.
Oh, yeah, that's not the show I think of.
And their perception is that they're showing a bunch of blind people, but and I'll have to research more into this to see if I'm right, but I'm pretty sure a lot of actors that they picked were sighted as well, like with Charlie Cox. But how they're being the show is that, like Daredevil, they're all like superhuman, and their superhuman abilities give them vision. So
oh, that's the bullshit.
it's like a cock out way of casting a character that's pretending to be blind, basically.
That's always the answer. It's like they're blind. It's not much sin. We must use supernatural or magic to correct it. But in the book True Sight, it was a post-apocalyptic world where everyone was blind, and the main character had gotten back his sight, and he was trying to hide it because he was scared of the backlash of him having sight hurt all them.
And it really did happen. They really did like ostracize him from their community because he wasn't a part of it.
Right.
To them. And I think that's the other extreme. It's like maybe that's why they want to cast someone that can pretend to be blind as an actor, like acting it, so that there isn't a backlash for them picking an actor that's visually impaired for sympathy.
And see, that's annoying me. It feels like in the blind community, there's 2 spectrums. There's those of us that had to deal with living in the sighted world and struggling and fighting for the limited resources we have trying to become independent. And then there's others who know the stereotypes for being blind and use it to their advantage because they want it easy out. And they don't care if it's right or wrong.
Did they hear you out?
Yeah, I'm talking about. We met them when we went to TM. It was those that pretty much sat there and had a silver spoon. They expected people to do everything for them. And so I learned how to do on their own.
Because they think they're a delicate little bird. If they have to do anything, they'll break.
Got my ass. We're gonna chat for people. How many times can the cold curse? There's a lot of times you have to.
You're good at catching it when you started, but I think now you just see red.
Yeah. Well, we both knew what was to happen with the stop it because it irritated me. I don't get it. There's so many advantages for other spectrums of disabilities except for ours, and I don't get it. Like, we're not expected to have any jobs except for being an assistant or living on Social Security. Like, we're not expected to have a life. But yet, people that are hard hearing, people that unfortunately have something else wrong with them, it's not that case. They're allowed to become independent and not be a parasite on the community. I mean, that's kind of how I feel. It's like we're not allowed to get jobs, we're not allowed to get our own house, we're forced to live with people because we don't make enough income in order to live alone. It's like we're blistered. I mean, shoot. I went to college, and apparently only certain percent of the blind community is expected to have a degree above a high school diploma. A large percentage of them, up to almost 30%, aren't expected to have graduate high school or have a GED.
Wow.
Because it's a stereotype that if you have a disability, you're not intelligent. You're stupid. Or another case where schools, it's too much work for them to have accommodations or to enlarge the tats or give foundations that people need. Hey, Scheller, to help them get ahead. And there are cases where a person actually is intelligent and they show it. It's either a cheater, they stole it from someone else, or it was mistakes on the board for a person grading that. And that makes the child feel like, what's the point of showing intelligence if no one recognizes it?
Mm.
What's that all about?
Well, Amazon's being a punk, but I'm trying to see if the author of that book was really impaired or not.
I don't know. Ugh, that's another. Is the fact that both me and Lauren are self-help authors, and that's another pain in the ass. Tyler says, I understand this topic so well. I mean, shout out here. Well, you're more welcome to join us if you want. Just down below if you want to join, send me a link. But, I mean, this makes you wonder, like, is there actually hope for things to change for people in our community that want to break out of spectrum?
Yeah, especially since they're trying to make it so normalized. Like, yeah, let's idolize this guy pretending to be blind so you can make it normal.
And that's the point, though, is that when he got the award, I really thought it's like, oh, look, I had these glasses made that if you look at me, you can't tell I'm blind.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that would have been really cool because a lot of times in schools, children are picked on because of how they looked. And I mean, yes, they'd still have to use canes. I mean, other things would do it away, but at least then they wouldn't be picked on for eyes looking weird. And instead, is that when you decide after second recording not to use them, that was the end of it. Those glasses weren't used for anything else. And that just seems like a sad waste of opportunity.
It sounds like a waste of money too, because you know the glasses were made just for him.
Right. Interesting. Special made glasses are not cheap. I should know. I have 3 pairs that I was lucky enough for them to pay for. China says, I would, but doing our stream, but did get the feeling of underappreciation of being disabled and being assumed stupid. I have learning and developmental disabilities. Oh, right, I saw that earlier. Sorry about that, Shadow. But yeah, I mean, it sucks. Is that people do look at you and they have made assumptions before they get to know you.
We're just trying to catalyze and put you in a box.
And yes, I just this soul line from Shrek. I didn't caught that one.
Oh, I didn't.
It's more after when Fiona Matzel were judging her. But it's like we want to break out these stereotypes, but how are you supposed to break out of them if people want to pretend you're A, they don't exist, or B, they can just easily be swept under a rug? My apologies. That's my computer. That was YouTube notation.
Give me attention.
And it makes it really hard for those of us that don't want to be labeled by disability. We want to be labeled for our talents, our strengths, our individuality, what makes us unique. And yet, a lot of times, it comes back around or comes down to that we have to use a team. We can't see certain things. Or, like Shadow pointed out, if you have a learning or developmental disability, it's don't know what to find you. And it's not right.
I'm gonna be really mad if I find out that this guy isn't disabled at all. I'm gonna lose my shit.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we tried to come up with a list of blind writers, and it was very limited. Which is kind of sad. I mean, I think that's why me and Mara are trying to become self publishers, that we want to break that mold and show that even though we're struggling with formatting and technology because it's more vision based, that you can still do it. It's to be more struggle and you have to work your ass off to pull it off, but it can be done. Do you want me to try looking up for you? You're trying to look at what?
I'm reading it now.
Oh. I'm gonna say he's not, but we'll see. But and that's the thing that makes me really mad is that going back to the original topic is that Daredevil was so like all inspiring because it was a character we could look to in comics. That it was a lawyer that had a disability, but yet he was still working defense, still defending people in court and getting justice for the innocent. And he was an intelligent man. And I don't know, just my fear is that having someone without this disability playing a character like that is that what he stands for is to be lost. Hey, Burton. I finally made my way here. Yeah, sorry, I pushed it back now because I thought this would be easier for people to come join. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that was the same time the Shadow Layer stream, so I might change it again because I really don't want to step on people's toes with their streams. So either I might do back to 10 or I might start streaming on Thursdays. I don't know yet. I'm trying to stream at the same time, trying to be fair to everyone else that's streaming at the same time, which I know is hard.
Well, if you do Thursday, you could do after Sam's. That would be at 11.
That's true. So I might do that then. I thought I don't like stepping people's toes or making them feel like you have to pick between this and this. It's not really fair. I mean, yes, there's a replay, but sometimes in streams when you're doing it by yourself, it's easier to have an audience to talk to. Probably if you're like shy or introverted.
The
Am I right?
I love exploring the supernatural.
Wait. You're like a little too sarcastic. I don't think you caught it.
And anyone explore themes with supernatural and those that struggled in their lives.
It had nothing to do with being blind. Yay.
Yeah, because apparently True Sight is a trilogy, and book 2 is called Seer, where he flips on the idea of a blind community on its head, and it's a community of those that are sighted, and exploiting someone that's visually impaired for money.
Damn. Alright, I didn't want to drop, but there's some comments from Brooklyn. It says, this is hard. You need like a flow chart. Today for me was just being swamped with sudden onset, run around, and do a bunch of unexpected things. And a good thing no one creative is ever shy or introverted.
We need to find a way to clone them? Is that what you're saying?
No, he's saying that you need like a chart to figure out when would be the best time to stream because it's kind of hard to figure out on your own. I don't know. I think that's what he's saying, but he's saying he was busy today, but dude, you show up to every single thing we do, so definitely love there. And no worries. But so you're pretty much saying that True Sight, despite the appearance of trying to be a play on someone blind, is really just another mockery.
I wouldn't say, well, I don't think the offer intended to be a mockery, but definitely a negative connotation on how divided it is of, people keep saying that blindness is a spectrum. That either you are completely blind and have no vision at all, like lights out, or you're faking it.
Which isn't the case. But yet, I faced that so many times. People thought I was faking it. Apparently, if you can look a person in the eye, or it looks like you're watching them or following them with your eyes, that means you have sight. That there's nothing wrong with you. Which I call bull.
I mean, just learning more people in the creative space, or being a content creator with a visual impairment. I mean, look at all the different ones that we've learned about and how it affects them.
There's so many.
I mean, if they have enough high functioning vision and not use a cane, I'm sure they get that all the time. Like, hey, you're not blind.
Dude, I didn't want to use my cane growing up because I knew as soon as I pulled that sucker out, I was going to get attacked by bullies. I mean, to be fair, it definitely made a good nutcracker on guys, but I didn't hesitate to use it. And yes, I did use it when I was younger to hit guys in nuts. Worked better than Mace, in my opinion.
But you don't think wearing glasses was a target? Made you a target enough?
No, because of the fact that if people wear glasses, you don't see it because of the fact they have trouble seeing. You just think it's just Like, I don't know why, but glasses seem to pass the spectrum where you're not made fun of for wearing them. Like, it's just a normality. But if you show any other ways of struggling, that's when you're mocked, made fun of.
Well, to be fair, some people wear glasses just to make things more clear, bring things more into focus.
Right, or it's just a stylish choice and they have fake lenses. But I'm saying once you go past that, like if you have speech impediment or it takes you longer to figure out what's going on, that's when people make fun of you.
Mm-hmm. Well, we lived in a fast-paced society, so if there's anything where it would slow you down or you can't get it fast enough, then, there's something wrong with you.
Right, you're ostracized for it.
But
Perfect, and I read it and it's like, it says, when he said that's something that no one creative is shy or introverted. And amusing because it's like, I know I used to be a smartass for that one. Yes. But see, that is shows what I'm saying is right, is that for our community, it's like people that write for it, they don't know how it is or how to write it. Broken says the actor he played Superman in the 1950s wore glasses and no lenses whenever he was playing Clark Kent. Right, see, it's like people don't see a difference when with glasses. It's after you. It's like past glasses when people notice it. And I think that's why I always hesitated to use my cane because I knew as soon as I pulled it out, people knew I was different. Whereas wearing glasses, it wasn't that bad. Like it wasn't that big a deal. Unless it was gym class. Gym class was you're scared. But there's no way hiding you can't see a ball when it hits you in the face multiple times. Why? Yeah. I still thought their teacher was stupid. Yes, let's put a blind person in a room with other kids and a bunch of balls that break things. Let's see how well this turns out.
You just put me in my plastic bubble where nothing can hurt me.
I always thought the worst one was volleyball. Because as soon as they realize you can't see it, they spike that sucker hard, they can out your face. I broke at least 4 pairs of glasses playing that. But it's just, I don't understand when you're dealing with other branches of disabilities. It's like they're almost parallel with normal society and any to ours, and it's like we're still stuck in the 70s. Like, I don't understand why it's so hard for ours to be brought up to the depth and be narrowed, unlike others.
Ugh.
Someone didn't have their coffee yet.
Brains.
I mean, it's not just with acting, it's with anything. It's like, for example, in Discord that I mentioned, there are a lot of things in there, or not doing other branches of technology where you can't access it because your access technology will make it crash. Or will make it not be able to work. Yet these are modern systems that a lot of people use either to get your name out there or to create internet communities.
Yeah, and I feel like when your disability interferes with you, getting that connection, then you feel ostracized even more.
Exactly.
Like when you're playing Dungeons Dragons and we need assistance, they're like, oh, we just let somebody do it for you. It's like, what's the whole point of me even playing that?
Exactly. Or instead of passing notes, just run your phone. But I'm not to step in when our players are over your shoulder because you shouldn't be using it. But yet, then why do you like use it in the first place? If you're not to stop people from cheating. And see, I mean, that's why I like when I did 17 because it wasn't they're doing it for me because they only stepped in when I asked for help. They're assisting. And that's totally different than someone that's taking over and doing it for you. Like, yes, they're telling you what's on the sheet, and yes, they're telling you what, like suggestions, but it was up to me on what my character was going to do. Instead of someone saying, okay, this is taking too long, this is an inconvenience, let's just either, talk over or kick her out or do it for her. And I mean, that does happen a lot. And like Lauren said, it's probably due to the fact that society is fast paced and that if you can't complete a task within 5 minutes or less, you're pushed to the side. Not even. I hope that did not get picked up. Oh.
Well, if I heard him, sure it did.
Yeah. If you guys heard that, I'm sorry. It's what happens when you live with other people. But it's like either you can struggle and push your way in society or you get overlooked. And yet, recently, it's not the case for some people. I mean, look at what happened with Broadway. We had our first actress for Oklahoma in a wheelchair. Like, if there's stage for that, why can't there be stage for us where we have a blind character be played by a blind actor? I don't get it. I mean, on one hand, I wonder if it's the fact that, as Loki has pointed out numerous times, that Hollywood is full of lazy SJWs that don't give a crap and just want money, or the fact that people don't want change.
I think it's both. I think it's definitely a way easier to have somebody come into their minds and. Because, I mean, think about it. You would have to find a way to make it accessible for them. Whether it's to make it in Braille or make it large print.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, Brooklyn, a lot of people are probably lazy. I apologize. You guys can hear my parents in the background. I don't know how to explain. It's just like how it is when you live with your parents. And I apologize for that. But yeah, like Burton said, it's lazy writing, but so the plan is that for the new Avengers, and I think that's phase 5 of the MCU, is that they were done at Daredevil. But before that, in Spider-Man 3, they were going to introduce Matt Murdock. And it's a missed opportunity because how you could have spun this was that you could have shown we're going to introduce a disabled character in the MCU. Let's use it to get rid of stereotypes and help out this community that's always overlooked and always pushed to the shadows. And they're not doing that.
Yeah, I'm really surprised because, I mean, Kevin Feige, like, this great mastermind and, like, really inventive person. And yeah,
Right.
I think it's that because the fans have overwhelmingly pushed for Charlie Cox to return because the Netflix show were canceled.
But he shouldn't represent our community.
But money.
I know it comes down to money and the easiest way to pull something off without having to pay a lot of money for it. I get that. Burton says, as far as FCWs, there are certain disabilities that matter to them because they can store points with them, and then there's everything else. And I agree. And like Lauren said, I think that's why it's easier to get a deaf actor the blind actor because a deaf actor, it's hard to tell if they're hard of hearing, if they actually are deaf, or if they work in between enough that they can pull off being that way. Especially if they're an interpreter or if they do have family members that are with that community. And it was also showed when they had Glee. They had a character that was in a wheelchair that had nothing wrong with him. And the only reason he knew that he was fine is that when they showed the dance numbers, he was moving his hips and everything, and it's like, wait, that's not right. Like, you're supposed to be paralyzed from the waist down. Why doesn't it look that way during the dance numbers, you know? Like Burton pointed out, there are some where they just do the bare minimum and get away with it, and others it's too much work, so we're not going to show it. But I feel like with Daredevil, it's like it might sound like immature, but I was just hoping for something different. I'll hear right now with how well they're doing WandaVision. I thought maybe that they would want to embrace this new idea and do something different. But apparently I was wrong. Apparently they just want the actor and they don't care how wrong it is. Like I said, I agree. They could have Charlie Thompson back and they could have him playing Daredevil. But Daredevil is not the same thing as Matt Murdock. They're shown as two personalities. That's why Vigilante wear masks is that you don't know who your alternate identity is.
Would you like to know my secret identity?
And I know. And that allows them to be told after who they are in the real world, or when the mask is off. And I just feel like every time this happens, it just pushes back what we're trying to do every time. It doesn't help us move forward.
But in a way, like DC could fight back and create a character that would fit it better, because I'm sure there is a character that's just that is visually impaired in DC Comics, but I can't think of one.
They are, but they're always C or D rated. They weren't very popular or very big. Like I said, there's also other MCU characters that are blind or disabled, like Stutz, like I can't remember her name, but it's a mutant that's they showed in X-Men Evolution that we all have visions, and she was blind for that reason. But yet, when you talk about comics, it's always Daredevil that pops in your mind first.
Because he's the most popular one?
Yep. Burton says, Wonder Woman temporary blinded herself recently. Oh, no, Burton. We are not going down that rabbit hole. Wonder Woman already sucked. I don't need to go there. And then I was never really a big fan of Wonder Woman before the movies, so it didn't help.
In the comics.
Oh, yeah, in comics. I mean, they showed that. I mean, they showed in the Batman Returns when he's facing Ra's al Ghul in the snow that he puts on a blindfold. I'm like, oh, I'm not affected by the snow blind, so now I can fight. Like that's another cliche that's used a lot of film. It's like, I don't know, blind myself temporarily, and it'll make me be a better fighter.
Yeah, apparently in one of the episodes of Legend of Tomorrow, they showed one of the characters being temporarily blind as well, and
Oh yeah, you told me about that and how magic.
yeah, they had to fix it.
But why? Like, I mean, that's something that makes me really mad. It's like, why is it that it has to be fixed when in reality that's not the case for people like us? It's never going to be fixed. One day, what little vision we have left is to be gone, or we're going to be totally blinded. Or there's some people to me that already are at that point. And I feel like when they say that it should be fixed, it's like saying, okay, what the fuck's wrong with us then?
Yeah, I thought it would have been really cool if they would have left her blind till she was trained from the League of Assassins. And they're all like trying to walk on eggshells around her, thinking like they had to like sit her down, put her in a corner, and she was like, "Nope, I was trained by League of Assassins. I got this."
Uh,
And then they would hear it. I was like, "Damn it! I want a blind assassin. That'd be badass."
I mean, let's be honest, it is why I play a lot in games.
Right.
Oh, those poor fools. How many jump scares can you do in person when if they're blind, they're supposed to be stumbling into a lot of shit, not being able to walk very far on their own, making a lot of noise. Instead, it's peekaboo, broken, quick internet searches reveal zero blind DC characters of any note.
Wow.
Just out of curiosity. I mean, like I said, it doesn't surprise me because when you've talked about comets and a character that's blind, the only one that pops in your head is Daredevil. And I should know this because 2 years ago for Comic-Con, I was doing a cosplay as one because I have to use my cane. I cannot turn around not using that. And it was really slim pickings. Like I said, they do not embrace that side of characters.
I don't know. I was Daredevil and I had more fun being Harley Quinn and not being able to see.
Yeah, a lot of them were like characters that were technically blind, but then down the road they got something that cured it. And that just brings back the point. It's like, why does it need to be cured? Like, it made it seem like there's something wrong or something bad with having this disability. And I know it seems very self-centered photos about the blind community, but that's what I have. I'm pretty sure other people out there with different disabilities have this feeling, know what it's like to be that way. And on that note, it's the top of the hour. Wow.
So basically broken, you're saying that DC needs to make a new character. I don't know, I feel like they'd be like, "You're coming over Daredevil, no!" But I had that big debate about how they copied Namor off of Aquaman because it's the same
Same
character.
Oh,
But
the whole crap between the DC and MCU.
yeah.
But my worry for the Daredevil and the MCU is how bad are they messed up with trying to show the blind community? Like, are they just at the stereotypes, or are they actually truly to try to make a difference? And I mean, let's face it, we all know the answer. It's not to be the latter.
They're gonna go what they can see, what they can do, and the least amount of effort.
Yep. And shit, who knows? Maybe he'll get another award from the Blind Foundation. Well, let's face it, that's just a mockery. There's nothing else with that. And on that fun little note, I believe that is time. So thank you all for joining the chat, and for those watching replay. And you guys got to see me do a little rant. It was more cleaned up than the original one. The original one had a lot more cursing and a lot more rage in it.
Okay.
So, like Lauren suggested, I might try doing this on Thursday after Sam's Winter Screen, because I did not know that the Shadow Lair had a stream this time, and like I said, I do not want to step on toes when I'm streaming. But at the same time, I'd like for people to join me in the chat because it allows me to have conversations and bounce ideas off people. So I will see you guys next time. Blessed be and have a wonderful day.